Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with my end of year vlog roundup type thing. It's going to go through my results first and foremost. Then we're going to move on to some thoughts that I've been collecting over the last week or so to put to this blog. And then my plans for next year, both with my poker play and with the channel. So it's going to be quite a long blog. There's going to be about an hour of live play at the end of it, and then however long it takes me to get through all this. So buckle down, settle down, make a cup of tea, because it could be a long one and you might want to do it in loads of parts, or you might just want to switch the fuck off now, because maybe listening to over 90 minutes of me, it might not be something you want to do. So yeah, first of all, we'll get to the bit that most people want to listen to and see, so then you can switch off for the rest of it if you want to. Here are my results. This is just in September. I had some computer problems in July, August time. I didn't get this computer back until September, so this is my results in September this year. It says all year in the date range, but that's just because that's when this database started. So we've made about 2.7k, I think it is, something like that. We go into the overall 2.6. You can see the win rate's been pretty healthy overall. It's this is pretty nitty at like effectively 13.5, but there is a decent chunk of full ring in there. My 6 max stats would more likely come out at something like 2015, something like that, around there. Who cares? It's not really that important, so that's how that breaks down. Over the rest of the year, since September, we've made this, that we said, around 2.6, 2.7k, not including shitty little bits of rate back, which isn't really very big, but we're going to talk about that later on in the video. I'm not sure how much I made before September on the track sites, but I didn't play very often on them. I was playing mostly on Sky and Unibet. I think it was around $1,500. Can't be sure, could be more, could be less, but it was around that figure. Across Sky and Unibet, I made just about £4,000 from what I can tell, looking back over my deposit and withdrawal history, and my recording of it's quite sketchy because sometimes I just don't do it. I'm a bit lazy like that, but I've made around 4,000. If I look at when I run a filter for net withdrawals, net deposits, and there will be some sports betting in there. So I don't know if I've made money or lost money sports betting this year, but my overall profit across the two sites seems to come out at about 4,000. I'm guessing it might be slightly more because I'm probably losing sports better, but you never know. I might have got lucky and I might have made some money this year. So it's around £4,000 on those. My rate back rewards probably don't come to much more than a couple of hundred, I wouldn't say, in dollars. At the most, we're going to be looking at maybe 300 or 400, because I'm not a high volume player and I'm quite low stakes. So yeah, that's what that's come out at. So overall, I would say I've probably made about $10,000 this year in total with everything, which is kind of less than hoped for at the start of the year. But at the start of the year, I hadn't planned for my day job and my day work to take the route that it's taken, and it's absolutely had an impact on my volume. It's had an impact on my motivation, and it's had an impact on like the limits that I wanted to play. I've also won like a few £100 in tournaments too, so give or take $500, anywhere between like 9,500 to 10,500 I think's what I've made this year, which is, as I said, less than I hoped for, but overall, I guess there'll be lots and lots of guys who wish they'd had a plus $10,000 a year, so I'm not going to be too grouchy about it for sure. Yeah, but as most of you will probably know, but some of you listening for the first time might not know, I was a start of the year as a support worker for people with learning disabilities, and we did work from home. We provide private respite care for families that have youngsters with learning disabilities and physical disabilities. And I'm still that now, but at the start of the year, I was only working for one company in 2 projects. Since then, since around September time, I'm now doing private work for, or possibly doing private work for up to like 3 or 4 different entities. And I have a job with the local authority now, in addition to the job I already had, which has opened up several new projects to me. So my day work has just completely exploded, and I love it. And do I love it more than poker? I don't know. because I love playing poker too. I know it's a lot less stressful than playing poker, and most of the time it's a lot more enjoyable. There's not many lows, lots of highs. There have been some lows this year. Sadly, a service user passed away. There's been some unfortunate things happening with service users, but overall it's a brilliant job. I love it. It's really rewarding. And my new job, and the more like direct payment work that I get, it's significantly better paid than my initial job that I started the year with. So I've significantly increased my earning potential with my day work, which is just steady money coming in. It's like poker can be, I mean, fair enough, we made 10 grand over the year, but it's hit or miss, and it's quite stressful when you're winning. It never feels as good as when you're losing. When you are losing and you're relying on poker for your income, it can be very stressful. It can, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. So yeah, I think I'm going to put more of my eggs just into my day job, steady income next year, and poker I'm going to play much more recreationally. But ironically, I think that's actually probably going to end up with me playing more hours and possibly making more money, as silly as that sounds. Could be right, could be wrong on that, but I think I've got a good idea for what I want to do next year and how I want it to work, and if it does work out, I think I can actually end up making maybe not more money than this year, but overall with the day work and poker, making more money net for sure. I mean, my entire life is just revolved around having a nice work-life balance where possible. When I go to work, I want to enjoy it, and if I can earn like, or my take-home pay can be anything around £20,000 a year, I'm happy with that. I'm not a man who's got like a big lot of ambitions in life. I just want to have a nice, happy work-life balance. I want to have a happy family around me. I don't want to be stressed about going to work. I don't want one of these guys who, Monday's come round again, I fucking hate my life. So I can make that £20,000 tax-free, which is equivalent to earning, what, £27,000. I'm happy with that. My wife works too. She has a reasonable income. So between us, we're making more than enough to get by if I can make 20 grand. So that's the plan for next year. Increase the day income, possibly reduce the poker income, but who knows? If the poker income can remain similar, then we're going to have a very good year. So that's the plans for next year. Let's talk about we looked at all this first. There's really things we need to look at. Stakes, I guess. As you can see, my best results have been at 30NL. If I ever was to return to playing speed poker, I think it would have to be on a site like 888. And one of the main reasons I'm not really doing this at the moment is because the traffic is so hit or miss there, and the rake is like pretty damn high. I'm sure we've got a rake in this column. Yeah, we do. Yeah, the rake. I mean, look at that. We're paying almost like 50% more rake. And yeah, it's slightly higher stakes, but over like less hands. It's just the rake on 888 is fucking through the roof. The rewards are even worse than PokerStars. If I thought the games got really good and there was good traffic there, I would probably think about going back there sometime during the year. But for now, my plans are definitely just going to be very, very focused on Sky. As you can see, in all the games where I've played significant volume, we've been winning in them all, and it's been pretty good. But I want to touch on this now. There's my graph, which I've already looked at. After the 6th of November, I started just like doing some Microstakes challenges stuff for the channel, and this is what I want to talk about with the channel. It's kind of hurt me pretty badly. I've only made this much money, like whatever that is, $200 and some fucking dollars, is it? It's hard to see. $277.40 since the 1st of November on the track sites, and I've put like reasonable volume. Well, not reasonable, 60,000, that's fuck all, but it's been 60 or 70 hours of play, I would say, maybe 80 hours of play. And yeah, it's 80 hours for whatever, $300. Lots of the guys who are like trying to build a bankroll probably settle for that, but it hasn't been fun for me. I've not enjoyed doing it. I've like started and aborted a number of challenges and trying to just fucking build some motivation for grinding the tougher sites and the speed poker pools, and I've just come to the conclusion it's just not fucking worth it. It really isn't worth it for a recreational player. If you've got ambitions to become a fucking sicko crusher who's making fucking thousands at poker, and you want to be like a GTO expert and all these things, great. And speed poker, it can be a vehicle for you to do that. But if you're a recreational poker player who's just wanting to make some money, monetize a hobby, have some fun, I think you can go down the wrong route by going down the whole let's fucking play 2, 3, 4 tables of Zoom or fast forward or whatever. You know, like blast through variants and try and build a bankroll. It's just fucking hard. With all due respect, I'm probably better than most of you guys who watch my videos. Why else would you be watching them otherwise, really? Unless you just want to take the piss out of me or whatever. And, you know, like, it's not been a big sample size, but it's been a struggle if this is ever going to fucking catch up. I know why it's not caught up. It's because I haven't applied this to all reports, isn't it? It has been a struggle. And even though we've ran a bit below EV, so we could have made a bit more, it's like, we make $4 an hour with a bit of fucking rake back or whatever. You know, it's just $4 an hour. It means it's going to take you a long time to build a bankroll to move up on that. And then when you move up, it's going to be harder. So is your hourly rate going to really improve? And yeah, as if you're someone who wants to make it to like 100 Zoom, 500 Zoom or higher or whatever, it's a battle you're going to have. You have to get used to just battling with loads and loads of regulars and just being like the fucking king reg who is actually capable of making money for most regulars too. For me, that's never where I've wanted poker to be, and it's more and more stark to me now. It's not where I want poker to be going forward either, which is why there are going to be some changes to the channel and to my approach, because I'm going to stop making speed poker videos and I'm going to stop trying to give advice to speed poker players, because I think even though I'm good enough to beat those games for these kind of numbers, and I expect my win rate is probably somewhere around 3. I don't think anyone who's winning at 3 big blinds 100 has any business saying I can help you improve in Zoom games. I probably can if you're a losing player. I almost certainly can. But at the same time, I think it's not ideal for me to be doing that. If you're a Zoom player and you want me to help you, of course I'm not going to say no, and I'm going to try my best to help you. But I'm not looking to do any work or do very much work with fast forward players going forward, because it's a very, very, as you can see in the live play video that's going to be coming, when I'm going to be playing against lots of fish, it's a totally different arena. It's like chalk and cheese, and it's not something I feel it's anything. If I'm not going to be playing those games anymore, I have no business saying to guys who are playing those games, come to me, I can help you improve in them. So yeah, the channel's going to change. I'm not going to be playing these games, and the channel's going to go to more of a recreational player feel to it. It's going to be a bit more fun. Going to be a bit less PC with some of the things I'm saying about my opponents, and we're not going to be so technical. We're not going to be like getting into the far ends of a fart about stuff. We're going to try and enjoy it. We're going to try and like talk sense and encourage you guys to play good poker, but we're not going to get totally caught up in fucking reg battles and start talking about 3, 4, 5 bet range and all that bollocks that, to be frank, I know for a fact tons of you guys don't have a lot of interest in, but feel that you need to fucking learn it if you want to compete in modern poker. I'm going to demonstrate next year that you don't have to be a well-balanced GTO fucking crusher to make thousands of pounds per year at poker. I'm going to prove that to you next year via the channel and via my results that hopefully I'm going to learn to track a little bit better. So yeah, getting on to like why all of a sudden I've decided, well, not why all of a sudden, it's been coming for a while, but the main reasons for me wanting to move away from speed poker, aside from the fact that I don't think I beat 25-0 for enough to make it worth my while. If I played 25-0 Zoom, 2 tables, 550 hands per hour at 3 big blinds 100, I'm making fuck all money basically. I'm making 75 cents times 6. So what's that? Come on, Richie, 75 cents times 6, $4.50 an hour, something like that, is it? Plus a bit of rate back. Couldn't give less of a fuck about earning $4.50 an hour and battling like shite for it in the table at the Zoom tables. Going on like soul crushing break even and downswing stretches. When you're in those downswing stretches and break even stretches, not knowing where your profit's going to start coming from because all you see is wall to wall fucking regulars. No, I just don't want it anymore. I don't need it, I don't want it, and I'm not going to do it. I find it both boring, but I get just no enjoyment from it. After a while, I'm just like, this is fucking dull. We're logging again. We're seeing loads of people with like the VPIP of between 18 and 23 with a 7% 3-bet are all playing, and some of them might be losing players. Some of them might not be that good at poker. But they're good enough that they're cutting my win rate. They're good enough that they're cutting your win rate, and they're good enough that they're cutting everybody else's win rate, because they're there and they're not losing enough to compensate for the rake. You need players that are losing at 10, 15, 20, 30 big blinds, 100 to compensate for the rake. If you're playing a game where a bunch of people are only losing at 2 or 3 blinds, 100, or 4 blinds, 100, or whatever, even 5 blinds, 100, and then there's like some other regulars are breaking even, etc., there just isn't enough profit in there, in my opinion, to make it worth your while as a recreational player who actually wants to fucking enjoy making some money and enjoy playing and enjoy feeling like they have an edge. It's just, I find it like really frustrating, boring, and when you're playing for like, you need to make money as part of your income, like I have for the first 3 quarters of this year, the anxiety can set in too, and it can make you want to play. But when you play, you're always like suffering with a little bit of accumulated tilt, unless you're in the middle of like a good spell, where most of the time you're not. Most of the time you're breaking even and what have you, and then you get your heaters and your downswings, but most of the time you're just battling hard and feeling like you're wading through treacle. And then the anxiety starts to set in. You're like, well, am I really good enough anymore? Am I not good enough? Are these games too tough? Is there profit in these games? And you start asking yourself all these questions that are really hard to answer, because when you're playing well and you're running well, you feel like the games are really easy. When you're not playing so well and you're not running great, the games feel like they're impossible. And then you get a bunch of regulars or a bunch of like people commenting on like various sites, basically saying how soft these games are. And you know it's not true. But at the same time, it gets in the back of your mind, like, well, are they that soft? Am I doing something wrong? And all these things. And then who knows? I mean, I don't think you're doing that much wrong when you've got a win rate of 4 blinds 100. But having a win rate of 4 blinds 100 doesn't really produce a good hourly for you. And on top of that, you're going through all the other things that we talked about already, of lack of enjoyment, boredom, frustration, the anxiety that leads to. You got to question that: is this any good for me? Is it good for me financially? Is it good for my enjoyment? Is it good for my quality of life? Is it good for my mental health? I mean, my mental health hasn't suffered at all. But I've had the occasional sleepless night when I've gone to bed on the back of like a minus $150 session or something. And just thinking, well, fuck me, that's a week down the Swanee, or a week and a half down the Swanee. It can be quite frustrating, and I'm not going to use the word depressing, because depression's a really serious illness, and it's not depressing, but it's certainly deflating, that's for sure. And I'm dealing myself out of that whole fucking shebang. Can't be asked for it anymore. Leave you guys to it. You battle all you like. You can call me a shit reg. You can call me all the names you like. I literally don't care anymore, because I'm going to go away to Sky next year. I'm going to guaranteed make minimum £5,000, if not more, and then be really happy about it, and just have a nice happy life with my poker and with everything else that's going on. So yeah, but for the guys who do, and there are some who just want to like criticize me, there, I've given you all the ammunition you need to completely fucking berate me. You guys go for it, I'm happy enough with that. Do I want to read it? Not really. Do I accept it's going to be coming? More than likely. Whatever. Good for you guys. If that's what helps you sleep at night, then you go for it. So, why do I think, and this is what I've talked about a lot on the forums, but never really talked about in a video, why do I think like the main sites have ended up in this situation where all they're producing for cash game players is like really boring, squeaky tight Microstakes poker? And I think it's the regs and the sites have conspired down the years. I mean, I saw this coming literally almost 10 years ago now. Where when I first started playing on PokerStars, the deal was really quite slow. It got one card at a time. You could see them all going around. The deal was incredibly slow. You were getting maybe 50 to 60 hands per hour at a table, at a 6-max table. Everything was slow, and the sites did that because that's what they thought players wanted. They thought they wanted to reproduce live poker, everything being a bit slower, taking the times. And then regulars started saying, the site started providing it where you could have more tables open. I mean, when poker first came out, if you were 4 tabling on Party Poker, you were the fucking man. You were like crushing the volume at your fucking 300 hands per hour or whatever. And you were like a really high volume player. You were getting like 15, 20, 30,000 hands a month in, a fucking Jesus, you were smashing it. But you were winning at 20 blinds 100 too, because the games are that fucking insanely soft. And everyone got greedy. the sites got greedy, the players got greedy, the winning players got greedy, and they started wanting faster and faster deals. So they got it. The sites sped the deals up, and then they wanted software where they could play 6, 8, 10 tables. And it seemed to go from 2007 to 2000, just before Black Friday, probably. Well, maybe 2009. It fucking shot up, and all of a sudden, people were like 24 table in full ring. They were 16 table in 6 max. But the games still weren't too bad. You still had like an element of game selection. And then for me, the killer blow was landed when Full Tilt brought Rush out. And I loved Rush at first. I thought it was the fucking dog's bollocks. Because I just thought I had this thing where I could play 1,000 hands per hour in really soft games against shit players and print money forever. I was playing 25 and L. I was probably winning at whatever, 10 blinds, 100. So I was making maybe, $20 an hour for a very short period of time. And then it kind of all started to go belly up. And the fish just went broke so damn quickly. Because fish loved it when it first came out. I remember I was on a poker forum, in the UK poker forum, and the fish were fucking loving it. Everyone loves Zoom. Everyone loved Rush as it was at the time, sorry. Everybody loved it. Everyone was like, this is the fucking thing. This is where we're at now. We can all play more hands per hour, which is what we all think we want as a poker player. We want to play as many hands per hour as we can. And it was like, this is the future of poker. But sadly, the fish just got fucking annihilated so quickly by the regulars. And then, so the fish just stopped depositing. I've known tons of people who, both personally in my actual life and people who I've talked to on the internet down the years, because I've been around a long time now. I know a load of people who just stopped playing poker. They just stopped depositing. They were regular depositors back in 2004 to 2007, 2008-ish. Regular depositors, didn't care. Poker was a hobby. They deposited a few £100 a month. Didn't give a shit. But then that few £100 a month was lasting them. And they were also sometimes able to make some withdrawals and maybe, maybe win a donkament or something like that and kid themselves that they were making money. And then the money was lasting them, and sometimes they were making withdrawals. I don't believe that really happens anymore for fish, because over time we've now evolved into a situation where if you're a fish in a Zoom pool, you're getting annihilated incredibly quickly. I'd imagine most players, if they deposit $50 and decide they want to play 50 NL Zoom, and you're a losing player, you could lose that $50 within 10 minutes very easily. Very rarely are you going to spin up to 200. Almost never are you going to spin your money up to 200 or 500 or something like that. Most often you're going to lose your $50 within an hour, and you're like, fuck that, I'm not doing that again. And it's just driven fish away in their absolute thousands. And it's the reg's fault, and it's the site's fault, because they just wanted to do it. They basically created a situation where fish get fucking so badly destroyed. It's just like putting it through a meat grinder. It's like dropping a fish into a meat grinder and it gets splattered. There's nothing left of the fish in almost 0 seconds. And yeah, they're bad at poker, but they're not necessarily stupid people. They understand when they're not getting value for money anymore. And they haven't got that value for money anymore. So they don't deposit. So therefore, the sites start to make less money. The regulars start to make less money. So the regulars start fucking playing more and more tables, more hands per hour. And the sites start thinking, well, fuck me, we're not making very much now because the fish are getting annihilated so quickly. We're processing all these deposits. We're not making much money because our regulars are fucking destroying them. So now we're going to start reducing the rewards of the regulars to claw some of the fucking money back. And you get to a situation now where the regulars are making next to fuck all. The sites are giving next to fuck all in rewards. And I just think, in my opinion, Microstakes cash games on the major sites, they're barely worth bothering with. And I don't like saying that. It hurts my position as like a mentor and a coach. But at the same time, I'm not going to be dishonest about it. Most of you guys watching this video, if you're playing 10NL Zoom and you're not really making very much money, the chances are you're going to continue not making very much money. Chances are it's going to get worse for you before it gets better. For most of you, of course, there'll be some guys that make it through, but for the vast majority of you, you're not going to make money. You're going to end up just breaking even or losing money, and then just drifting away from poker like more and more people do. So I really would encourage you guys to if you want poker to be your hobby, you want it to be your love, you want to try and monetize it, you need to break away from the Zoom pools. I'm not saying leave the major sites, because you can still find good games at regular tables if you look hard enough. I'm saying just divert yourselves. Go to in Canada, for example. I can't remember what the site's called now, but there's a site that's run. I think it's run by the government. Fucked if I remember what it's called now. In fact, I'm going to go and Google it a second. No, fuck it, I can't be asked. You'll know what it is if you're in Canada. There's a really soft site. In the US, you don't need to be an America's card room. You can be an Ignition and Global, or fucking Bavard, or whatever the fuck they call it these days. You can be on those and you can make a lot more money than you can make on ACR and on the other like larger networks. If you're on a site where your AAA's available to you in the US, that's going to be pretty soft for you too. In Europe, your options are a bit less because PokerStars just fucking dominates. But you can certainly play on Unibet, which is getting tougher, but still make money at it. There's still decent money to be made on Unibet. You can certainly play on some of the iPoker skins where you can find some soft games. If you're in the UK, you can absolutely play on Sky and print money. There's still plenty of ways to make money at the Microstakes games. I'm just urging any of you guys who are really struggling and looking for help from me, take this free bit of advice and don't contact me for coaching. Get the fuck off your 5NL Zoom, your 2NL Zoom, your 10NL Zoom. Just get the fuck off them and go and do something different. Play Microstakes Cash, start fucking learning PLO, play MTTs. You're going to get far more pleasure for your money and probably a better return on your money by doing any of those things than you're going to have by trying to continue grinding out at the Zoom. It's like chasing the dream of, just need to keep improving, to just keep studying and working hard. You're a 10NL player, you're a recreational player. It's supposed to be fun. You don't want to spend hours and hours a week going through fucking 3-bet, 4-bet, 5-bet charts, learning to play balance, doubting yourself, just hating yourself, hating poker. You don't need any of that shite in your life. You can have a nice poker hobby and monetize it without having to suffer all of that shite. Are you going to make it to the top? No. Are any of us going to make it to the top no matter what? Probably not many of us at all. But are you going to have longevity in the game? Are you going to maybe be able to make some money? Are you going to enjoy it by just getting yourself out of that rat trap? And yes, you probably are. I got a lot of stick about 2 years ago because I compared Zoom players to heroin addicts, and I'm going to do it again now because I think Zoom is like heroin. Like the whatever it's called, fast forward, all these things like when you just fucking crave like volume, you massively crave volume, and you crave like the action of it all, and you're just like, I need to get this volume in, I need to do it, and it's addiction. It's just like the people who are addicted to smack, they'll do anything to like get the next hit, and you guys aren't doing it to get, the guys that are addicted to it aren't doing it for the hit. You're doing it because you're chasing that dream of one day I won't have to fucking do this anymore. I can get to a limit where I can reduce my volume and play higher. Most of you guys aren't going to do it. It's just the reality of the situation. You're not going to do it. You're not going to get through 10 and 25NL because it's just too damn fucking tough for a recreational player who doesn't have 30 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week to work to hone their craft. If you want to make it through these like super tough games and get all the way to the higher stakes, you need to dedicate pretty much your life to poker. And most of the guys who watch my channel, they can't dedicate their life to poker. They've got other priorities. If you can't dedicate 40, 50, 60 hours a week to poker, my advice is get the fuck away from the Zoom games and just go and do something in poker that's more fun. Learn a new game. Start playing sit and goes on multi-table tournaments. Move to a softer site. Reduce your volume. Play higher. Get the fun back. Do all of those things. So yeah, that's my New Year's message to you guys. It will go down like a pint of piss with some of you. Some of you will just think, fuck you, I'm going to carry on doing it, and etc, etc. But I'm talking about someone who has, as we looked, I've beaten like over 200,000 or 200 and something thousand hands. I had a win rate of whatever it was, 6.5 blinds 100. Yeah, it's dropped a little bit since then, over a smaller sample size, but still, I'm talking about this from a guy who's coming from like a winning player's perspective. So it's not like I'm some bitter losing player who's saying, oh, it's fucking shit, get away, because I can't beat it. I'm beating it, and I'm saying it's not fucking worth the effort. You guys might disagree. Good luck to you if you do. I genuinely wish you all the best. But I don't expect too many of you to come back to me in 6, 12, 18 months' time and say, look at me, I was a 5NL player when you made this video in the 20-something of December 17. And look at me now, I'm playing 500 Zoom. I think maybe 1 in 1,000 players does that, 1 in 100,000 players. Who fucking knows how many? But not many do it. And it's just, to me, the chances of you making it are so slim, it's not worth the effort. And you better just diverting your attention. So there we go. That's the end of that little rant. It's taken a while to get it out, but I think it's a rant that's definitely worth making. So one of my plans going forward, well, absolutely start of the year, it's going to be Sky, Sky, Sky. Nothing but Sky. Playing anything between 10 and 30 NL. Don't want to mix mistakes too much, but I'll do it if I have to. My entire mission is going to be find the worst possible players I can when I log in, whether they're playing 10 NL or whether they're playing 50 NL, and just stick with them and just hopefully hoover up dead money. That's the plan. I think it's good poker. I think it's a good business plan. I think it's a good idea. Just get there and just pick all the low-hanging fruit I can find. I've no intention of like battling with regulars. I've got a new rule on Sky. If there's me and 3 of the regulars at the table, I pretty much quit that table unless one or both of the fish either have a ton of money in front of them or they're likely to lose it really quickly. If there's 2 just limp, call, check, fold type fish that just slowly bleed money, I'm getting the fuck away from it. If there's 3 regulars at a table, I want those 2 fish to be losing their money at 40 and 50 blinds 100. If they're not losing at 40 and 50 blinds 100, I'm out of there because you're not going to beat the rake, and it's just not worth the fucking effort when you can find other tables where you've got just you and 1 or 2 of the regulars and 3 fish. I want the combined fish's loss rate to be at the tables I'm sat at anything from 50 to 100 big blinds 100 losing, because I want to get my fair share of that. If there's me and 3 of the regulars there that are trying to make money, and just say we're all winning at anything from 2 to 12 blinds 100 depending on our game selection. If there's 4 of us there doing that and there's just 2 guys losing at maybe 12 blinds 100 each, only the site wins there. I'm not interested in the site winning, I'm interested in Reggie winning. So I'm going to be absolute bum hunter supreme. I'm going to be game selecting supreme. I made the most money I've ever made in my poker life when I was game selecting really hard. I was playing quite high. I was game selecting really hard. I had a really bad reputation as a bum hunter, and I printed money. I want to get back to doing that again. I'm setting my goals at just £5,000 for the year, but who knows what it could be. I mean, if I start getting lots of action at 50 NL in good tables, I mean that I could do that in the first 2 or 3 months of the year. Who knows? I was setting a modest goal because I'm going to focus a lot of my time on my care work and my support work. But when I am playing poker, I'm going to make sure I don't waste a fucking minute of it playing in games that are just not good for my bottom line. I'm also going to start mixing some more MTTs in. I haven't played too many MTTs this year, probably less than 100, maybe 200 tops. I don't know, but certainly nothing, the sort of volume that a normal MTT player will put in fucking 3 days or something like that. But I've had some decent scores. I've made maybe 4 or 5 final tables this year. I've had one decent win of £600 when I won the mini major on Sky. I think there's definitely some money to be made there, and if I'm going to be putting more long sessions in bum hunting, then I could have some multi-table tournaments on the side that occasionally just provide me with a big score and something to brag about, something to feel good about, and something to enjoy. So I'm certainly going to be playing more MTTs, and I actually think I might start selling some action for some of the bigger events, not on PokerStars or anything like that, but on Sky when they have the U Cup. They tend to have fucking different festivals and online festivals 3 or 4 times a year, and I might start selling action on them, and not even at makeup, just at fucking face value. So if, for example, tonight, I'm not going to do it, it's too late, but there's a £110 game on Sky tonight. I'm not going to buy into a £110 MTT, but I'd happily sell 80% of my action and just buy it, and just have 20% of myself and have the rest just at fucking face value. So other people who enjoy the channel, like to get the sweats now and again, see other people a chance to get involved. And it's not to give people a chance to get involved, really. It's to allow me to play some of these bigger games for a smaller investment. But if I'm not charging any makeup whatsoever, and I don't intend to charge any markup, makeup, whatever the fucking end you call it, if I ever sell action, it's just going to be exactly is it 1 they call it? I don't know. But it's going to be, I don't know. If I'm selling 80% of my action and keeping 20% of myself, no one's going to pay over the odds for it. It's going to be absolutely face value. I'm not going to do it that this new Cups is it's going a bit too soon. Maybe I'll do it on the occasional Sundays. Maybe I'll just put a package out on a Sunday when the cash games aren't great, and I'll say, right, well, I want to buy into £200 or £250 of MTTs. Who wants to take a piece? I want, I don't know, £50 of it myself. I'm selling £250. If it doesn't sell, then I don't play. That type of thing. Looking forward to doing that. I used to do that years ago, and it was a lot of fun. And we had some big scores, and we shared some money out, and it was good. It was good fun. So if you would be interested in getting involved in that, in like taking some pieces of my action in multi-table tournaments, only in soft ones on Sky where I'm pretty sure I'm going to be plus EV. I won't be putting myself in tournaments where I don't think I'm plus EV. Let me know in the chat. Let me know. There'll be more about this in the new year. If and when I decide to go ahead with it, I'll certainly make sure to promote it, because I'm going to want to sell the action, of course. No good keeping doing it if you can't sell your action. So hopefully we'll do that in the new year. Not sure what this means for my channel exactly. We're going to still continue doing like the weekly blog thing. It's a ball ache converting Sky hands on poker hand replays, but I'll probably still do that just to like pad out the content. And probably just going to like continue with the well, obviously definitely going to continue with the spreadsheet stuff. But the problem with the spreadsheet stuff is it doesn't have any validity. Neither does this really. It's all corruptible, let's be honest. If you wanted to, I mean, I could just go in here and I could find probably 50 hands, delete them, and make myself look like I'm a fucking 10 big blind 100 crusher. With the Sky spreadsheet, I could just not put in some of my losing sessions and make it look good. There's a huge element of trust in all of this. But I think holder manager results tend to have a lot more credibility than spreadsheet results, even though they're both as like easy to manipulate as the other, if you're that way inclined. And there's definitely been some case of that in the past where there's been players that have like faked their ROIs and faked their big blinds per 100 in order to get staked by people. I mean, I'm never looking for staking really, so it doesn't matter to me. And the staking that I might be looking for going forward with MGTs, just a simple sharp scope result will tell you whether you think I'm worth backing or not. So I'm not saying that I've ever done it, and I'm not saying that I ever will do it, but I am saying the reality of the situation is it's a matter of trust when you see someone's results as to are they being fully honest with them. And I know tons of guys who haven't been, so there you go. Yeah, they trust me or you don't. But we're going to continue with the weekly blogs and the results, hopefully showing that we're making plenty of money. But if we're not, well, then we're not. So I'm not sure what it means for the channel. We're definitely going to do the Monday vlog. Whether we're going to do something in the middle of the week, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because it's just really, if you play on a Sky, you've only really got live play content to do. You can do hand reviews, I guess, in the middle of the week, but then that takes away from what you can do in your vlog. So I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. If any of you got any ideas, please don't say do a challenge, because I'm not going to. But if any of you got any ideas, if any of you want to send me videos for me to review, and I can maybe review one video a week of you guys, if you upload it to YouTube or send it to me on Dropbox or something. I don't know. I'm open to ideas on what we can do for like a midweek series that's just regular, and I can just reproduce week in, week out. Open to ideas, so please let me know about that. Finally, I am still intending to continue coaching players. I'm currently working with a small handful of players. I have wound it down deliberately. I don't intend to do it on a large scale, because I intend to play a lot next year. I'm going to be working more hours. I'm not going to overcommit to it. But from time to time, I will be asking if anyone wants to come and work with me. When I lose some players, when players decide to move on because it took them as far as they can, or they've decided that it hasn't worked for them and they're just not going to play poker anymore or whatever. I want to have a regular. If I'm doing anything from say 3 to 5 hours coaching a week, that's entirely manageable. I'm happy with that. I don't want to go back to doing the 10-15 hours a week I was sometimes doing, because it's just that, again, that creates its own pressure and its own stress, where I'm starting to force myself to do things at times when I don't want to do them, work around things. I don't want to do that. I'm happy just having a smaller number of people. So of course, if you are interested in coaching, please do get in touch. I am going to run the occasional promotion, but usually it's going to be when I'm down to 1 or 2 players, and I just want to top up to 4 or 5 players. There's never going to be any of the big, let's get 10 people in at once and get cracking. That's all. That's done with. Moving away from that. But I enjoy the coaching. I enjoy doing it. I think I'm worth the money that I charge. And if people want to come along from time to time and get involved, that's great. If they don't, then I'm not banking on making any money from the coaching next year. Anything I do get is just going to be a complete bonus. We are going to run the odd advertisement. If I can make $100 a month from it, then great. It's an extra £1,000 at the end of the year. I'll take it. So yeah, there we go. That's like the 40 minutes I've been going for on this alone. It's going to be a long old video. That's where we are with it all. We've discussed my results. We discussed why I'm not going to be playing certain games going forward, discussed why I'm not going to be. I'll discuss what my plans are going forward, both for my play and for the channel. If you guys have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, I'd be delighted to hear them. But all that's to say now is let's get stuck into the live play session and hope it's a good one. So here we are with the at least 1 hour live play section of the bumper Christmas vlog. Let's hope that we can have some Christmas crackers. Certainly some of the players I'm up against are fucking crackers, so there's every chance. There is every chance. As you can see, there only appears to be one regular in the pool right now. That would be Mongo229. We've been virtually min-raised over here, which I do not like. Obviously we're not going to fold just yet, but we'd like to see some improvement immediately if possible. We haven't, so very much slowing down here. If he bets anything over half pot, I'm going to fold, and I'd be inclined to fold versus almost any bet. There's one pair when you get raised in these games just isn't likely to be very good very often. He's bet enough to allow me to fold, which is just fine by me. This Af Mahid, I'm not sure about him yet. I've got a note or put on just saying he seems to like to be like a sheriff. It's like never folding the 3-bets, 3-betting a reasonable amount, etc. I think he's a fish, but I'm not sure. So he's just playing 2 tables, but he's made life difficult for me so far on both of my tables. But not in a way that makes me think he's a good player, just in a way that I think he might just be a bad player, like a relatively bad player that's aggressive, who's running well. Maybe he's a really good player. I don't know, but he's had the better of me so far. It doesn't feel like it would always be the case that he would have the better of me. You could isolate the King Jack here. We're going to go big if we do. We're out of position. There's already 70p in the pot, so £1.40 seems like a reasonable size to race into a 70p pot. We're going to see bet here then. Only barrel turns that are good for our range. In his eyes, not good for our range, but you know, basically just any high cards. We're certainly going to isolate again here, and we're certainly going to make it 140 again here. We're going to see bet our vulnerable top pair on table 4. I'm going to... good. I was hoping to get a big bet in. Now we're going to be able to get a big raise in. And if we beat, we're beat. Happy birthday, Rivers. Pocket aces. That's what happens when you dick around sometimes, Mr. Rivers. Is Af playing sheriff again? Not much we can do with the Jack-8 suited when you get 3-bet, other than fold it. So what did this dude do? He just limp call, there, check call, 3 streets on right board, including over on chat. There we go. I mean, he can consider himself unlucky, of course, but I wouldn't have played the hand the same way if I didn't have the 2 pairs. So he's sat there thinking, I need to call with his hand, but he's probably only going to be calling in those situations when his aces have been cracked, I would imagine, especially in these games. Overbet bluffs, I'm sure they happen from time to time, but not where near enough to want to be like looking to call with any kind of regularity. I guess in that exact spot he maybe needs to think about it, but just don't limit your aces. Just don't do that. If you do limit them and you get the isolation race, just pop the 3-bet in. Don't be getting too cute. Shutting down on table 3 now. Sutty's check called the ace deuce jack. And he's going to hope to spike a good shot. Oh, we're going to fall to the turn lead. Oh, he didn't check call 3 streets, did he? He check call flop lead turn, didn't he? That's what he did. Check call flop lead turn. I'm putting writing fucking notes. If you're not going to write them correctly, you book him up it. Let him call ace and check call flop lead turn. Makes more sense. No, it made sense before, but it wasn't right. It made sense what I wrote, but factually it was incorrect. So as we talked about in the earlier part of the video, this table now has 2 definite regulars. I make a 3rd. If I had Af down as even an orange player right now, this would be close to being a closed table. I wouldn't close it because I do have decent position on the 2 likely losing players. But it's getting borderline now, is this table already? Because we're going to be super vigilant with our making sure we're in really good situations at all times going forward. So yeah, all my tables at the moment are fine, but this one is absolutely borderline table 4. Af is like the key component here. If I ever find out that, or if I ever decide that Af isn't a losing play that loses at like a decent win rate, then this would then be very close. Just see what he gets to showdown with here. Right, well, he's bet called that river with what exactly? This should tell me a little bit more about his play. We'll play our hands first, then we'll go back and look at it. Pretty sure that 3-bet was coming there, hence the min raise. Sadly, this is what's been happening against Af pretty much the whole shift so far. We've been defending versus his 3-bets and we've been completely fucking bricking. But never mind. So what did Af call down with in that Queen Jack hand? King 10. Did he have a straight then, did he? I guess he had a straight, fair enough. Had to criticise him for calling a min raise on the river with a straight. You can imagine he hasn't bet there. And just continue with my like 1/3-ish, 1/3 to 40% C-bet strategy on flops. We get raised by EJ Bear on a very wet board. Question is here is, can we get it in against worse draws often enough to make jamming here profitable, or do we just call and try to hit? And I think we can go for the, maybe he can have worse draws, worse flush draws, like straight draws, things like that. And now if he does just have like the set or whatever, then we're in trouble. If he's just got top pair, then we've got hopefully reasonable equity. He does have the set, which is unfortunate. We don't get there. On that board section, I mean, yeah, he's going to have less flush draws because we have a flush draw. But a lot of the time there, he's just going to have over pairs, worse draws. I think his range is probably wide enough for us to say, fuck you, let's go for it. Is it high variance? Absolutely. Do I think it makes money against players who I suspect to fish? I think it does. Could we just have called? I mean, if we're in position there, I think we could just call and see a turn, see what he does. But without a position. So that has much less attraction to me then. I'd rather just get another bet in and say, fuck you, let's go for it. Yeah, we haven't got great equity. We're kind of relying on our ace being good there if we hit it too. We're relying on our ace being an out. Obviously, when we're up against a set, we've got really poor equity. We've got, what, like 30%, something like that. But against an overpair there, we're probably just under a coin flip. And if we have any fold equity with our raise, that's fine. And obviously, sometimes we can just get it in good against Jack 10, worse flush draws. 6-7, stuff like that. So it's not great that we lost, but I think against a regular, it's not going to be good there to like to try and get the money in, because the ranges are going to be much more solid. But against a fish, I think it's fine. It's probably not optimal, but I think it's fine. Got to keep blocking against the fish here. With my ace 10, we can certainly get caught by some worse hands. When we get raised, we can't fall for a min raise, but the plan is basically improve or check for the river, which is unfortunate. Well, we're getting such a ridiculous price that we need to see a river. I'm going to flat here with the ace king to see if we can induce something from AF. We didn't, but never mind. We now get to a flop with a nicely disguised hand, so who's complaining? Just checking down here with the ace 8. Lose to pocket 6s, never mind. Don't expect to think about to have too many flushes here. But I think we only really get value, I think, from like ace jack, ace queen. And this probably should be a bet. So I'm going to make one. Puke if we get raised. But it needed to be a bet. That is the one downside to Sky there when you want to think about the river. You don't have an awful lot of time to do it. I'd have appreciated an extra 15 seconds or more there to just like get a better size in. I think my bet was too small. It could have induced some raises from him, which would have made life difficult for me. When I'm not talking through things, I would probably be fine there. But when you try to make a video and just kind of try to consider your words a bit. The time back does seem, I mean, obviously it doesn't physically go down quicker, but it does seem to be a shorter period of time for which to make a decision. This table 4 does not seem great. I think there's a reasonable chance we're going to try and find a better table. Because, I mean, the two fish are they're limping around and what have you, but they're not. I think we can find just a table with more fish, basically. So that's what we're going to try and do. Mad Hunter, he was at the small final table I made last night. No, I think we're going to stay at this table. I think these are passive enough. What did the Mad Hunter call me down with in that hand? Disappointed if he had a flush as well. Just ace king, so our sizing got some extra value there. Eight hits a river on table 1, which would have made us a set, but would not have won us the hand. Let me just check the lobby, see if there is anything. It looks really juicy. Not at the moment. A decent amount of respect for Mongo. I'm not going to be 3-betting him very often from the big blind versus another gun. We can just happily take a check call line with him all the way here. Really small here thanks to Lacey's stack size. Get min raise, trivial call, and then just check whatever turn. Check jam, I guess. Versus 20 pence. No point checking and then checking to him again on the river because it doesn't look like he's going to size his bets in a way that makes it worthwhile trying to trap him. That's 2 pairs on table 2. We're going to bet slightly bigger against an unknown fish because of the board texture. What did Mongo calm me down with before, by the way? Did this one? Pocket Kings. Kind of shit for him. Keep calling them in bets on table 2. Nothing to get too excited about. And we lose to a slightly better 7. That's not a good flop for 2 10s on table 1. Heads up there. I think we could bet small. In position against these two guys, I think we could just bet small. But 3 ways. I think we can just stick with our check back. Gonna bet like 1/3 pot here. See what happens. We get snap called by pass back. Tells me he does a flush draw, a 9, or a weak ace. Either way, we're not betting this river. And then we're gonna, if he bets really small, we'll check call. Otherwise, we'll just check back. And we had the same hand. We weren't making sets, were we? Looks like we've missed something on table 4. Not the best of runouts. If he bombs the river, we're just going to let it go. Even though I suspect he could be somewhat tilted if he's just suffered a bad beat, which I'm not sure if he has or not. Yeah, we're going to get rid of this table 4. These guys aren't making it worthwhile to be out with 2 semi-decent regular, well, good regular, semi-decent regular, and an unknown I haven't figured out. Going very much along the lines of what I talked about earlier, whereas if I just feel like a table isn't great, then if you have any doubts about a table, just get rid of it. I mean, this is probably an okay table, but now we've got Mongo, who's deep with us and has position. We've got this guy who's like not allowing us to steal very often. If I see a better table in the lobby, I'll take it. We'll keep it open until a better table comes up. But if I do see a better table, then there's just no reason to be at that one. I've already found a better table, so sit out big blind. Well, I said I found it, it's fucking disappeared. Alright, so all of a sudden, there isn't a better table. Certainly going to fall to Mongo's middle position 3 bet. That's a full house, but it's a full house going to be hard to get paid with. We're going to start by just min leading. See what happens. I mean, just going to be hard to win a lot of money on this flop. So he's going to keep just betting small and hoping he just doesn't fold an 8. So stand up from here, and that will incentivize me to find another table. And we found one. I think we can all agree this table is better than the one we just got rid of. We've only got one regular. J-Man might be a regular, I'm not sure, but we certainly have 3 fish. Now, don't get me wrong, 2 of the fish don't have an awful lot of money, but they will be incredibly low. It will be incredibly low hanging fruit. Lots of fish play much more defensively when they have like a reasonable stack in front of them. Much more willing to gamble when they got these shorter stacks with like really weak ranges. Quite often you can have a fish with 25 quid in front of them and they'll turn and they'll play quite loose and like weak and like, how can I put it? They'll be conservative, they won't want to lose all of that money, but you can get the same fish with an £8 stack in front of him. And I think his win rate will be significantly lower. So if it is, say for example, we've got a fish who's sat on a £25-30 stack, I think his win rate will be, who knows what, say minus 10 bigs 100. Whereas if you had the same fish with, say, an £8 stack or a £7 stack, his win rate might be minus 30 blinds 100, because they're just like more willing to gamble with like a shorter stack, and maybe they're more desperate, maybe they just want to double up or something. They seem to play worse with the shorter stacks. That's how it feels. Well, that's not how it feels, I think that's just how it is. So yeah, it's nice to have deep stack fish around you, but they're much harder to felt because they just play much more cautiously. You have to like play differently against them. Someone is getting king queen in pre-flop. It doesn't seem great. How did that go down? I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at a message I'd received. So we had a raise, a 3-bet. J-Men put like a tiny cold 4-bet in. And they just kept clicking it back like fucking idiots against each other for a short while. So J-Man is not a regular. Well, he might be, but I don't recognise the name, and he's just played that hand fucking horribly, so you might want to go back and look at it. He kind of went open 3-bet, min 4-bet, 5-bet, min 6-bet, jam, call with king queen. It was special. I hope he's got 2 pairs here and make a larger bet on the river with our flush. A check call down with the 9s here, assuming the board doesn't run out too bad. If he's got a 10, then good for him. He might just bet a 6 again, he might just bet an 8 again, pocket 8 or something. Maybe we just have to call here. Not much else we can do about it. Yeah, we lose to Jack 10. So be it. Up with the tens, giving up with the ace queen. When we get called out, the big blind is quite, well, it theoretically should have quite a narrow, well-defined range of just high cards and pocket pairs. I'm going to take my pot odds here to draw. Get there with the flush. Checking back now, he's called there. A raise here, and we're going to really hope that range just doesn't come back over the top, because that would be sad. That would make me quite sad. He instantly folded. We drag down a nice pot. Did he bet call the river with? I'm going to be setting out in a minute somewhere probably, but whatever. We'll go back and look in a moment. Oh, we had the second nut flush. Never mind. Hope a lot of fours here against. Come on. 1-4. Not a great start. The ace giving us two pairs nice though. Now we just hope he's got like an ace queen or something. Now we fill up, and I'm pretty confident he has an ace. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to overbet. I don't think I'm always going to be able to find 20-0 games as soft as these. As I talked about earlier, I will be willing to like move up and down in stakes in order to find the softest games. It's not going to be about I'm going to play 20-0 or 30-0 or 50-0. It's going to be absolutely about I'm going to play where I can find the fish. I'd rather have not like playing 3 or 4 different limits at once, but at the same time, if that's what we need to be doing, then what I'll do. My purpose, my entire purpose, at least for the start of 2017, is find the biggest fish you can find the softest games you can find, and just clean up in them. Clean up, just take all the easy money, take all the dead money, have a nice stress-free existence. There you go. And to be fair, it's what I recommend most of you guys who watch my channel do. But we talked about that earlier, so we're not going to cover that again now. I think there's easily £300 to £500 a month for me on Sky without really ever putting myself in a situation. No, that's the wrong way to word it. There's easily I just think there's an easy £300 to £500 to be made, so long as I put decent hours in, which is a good return on my hobby, tax free. Let me check min raised and called here. We're going to call and hope to bink a nice blue 9. Red 5, fuck you. Turn some equity on table 3. Folding on table 1. Come on, clearly not a good player, but we're not going to be defending the Jack 5 off versus the min raise. I'm sure some geniuses out there could make a mathematical case for it, but I think if there is any profit in it, it's so fucking minuscule. I'm just not that arsed. It's like if you walk past a 2p piece in the street or whatever it's the equivalent of 2p pieces in your country, you ain't going to bend down to pick the fucker up. It's kind of the same here. Yeah, I might miss out on very, very tiny bits of EV, but if the fucking effort to collect that EV doesn't seem worth it to me, then I'm not going to do it. And I think it's like when you, I don't know, you buy something in a fucking shop and you say keep the change. Technically, you're overpaying for it. It gives a fuck. If you walk past a 2p piece or a 10p piece or a 20p piece in the street, yeah, if you see a 5 or a 10, you'll turn down, you'll pick it up. If you see a lot of money, obviously you'll pick it up and take it to the police station. But you know what I mean. Sometimes, yeah, you give up some life EV or you give up some poker EV. But if the hassle that it takes to collect it isn't worth the value of what you're getting, then just don't do it. That's my book. Yeah, and I'm saying there, you don't have to take every plus EV spot if the effort that is required to win that EV, in terms of that mental game, in terms of putting yourself in tough situations, all those things. Yeah, you don't. It's nice to try and collect every bit of EV, but in spots like Jack 5 off versus a min raise, in my opinion, you don't need to be going to the ends of the earth. If you need to be in games where you need to go to the ends of the earth to collect every cent of EV that's coming your way, then you're in games that are just too tough. If you can't afford to say, you know what, I can let this one pass, then you're in a game that's too tough. Got min 3 bet here. We're just going to pay him off, I guess. Less than about that, the better from KXF. I'm not really sure what thinker man can have here that would fold. If there's another table that looks out decent, we'll take it. To avoid playing 3-handed. Yeah, we're 3-handed against a fish, which is something I would stick at if I was playing myself. But it just speeds things up too much when I'm playing and try to talk. So I don't need 3 tables in my life when I'm trying to make a video, basically. But we do have a table here that we can hopefully get on before the last seat goes. Again, it looks like a juicy table. Certainly a better option than the table we've just been on. I'll move it in just a moment. And I may well have just donked there. No, I didn't. I didn't donk. It's fine. I'm certainly going to defend the Jack 8 suited versus, come on. Eminently more playable than the Jack 5 offsuit. We flop a second pair. We're going to start by checking. Well, we're probably just going to check call 2 streets now, I would imagine. And if he's managed to win 2 streets out of us by checking the flop with a better hand, then more power to him. We're not paying £3 off though. He got a bit too greedy there. I don't think Lucy's has anything here, but we're going to bet big just in case I'm wrong. I think he's going to fall to almost any bet, but on the odd time that he actually does have something, then we get paid. Called 10x button 5-6 suited. It's a nice note to have. I was tempted to raise that turn there and fold. He bets into 3 people. I think there's a reasonable chance we're beat here with the ace jack. I think a jack of diamonds pretty helpful though. And we're going to call, but I think there's a good chance that we're going to be beat versus someone's triple barrel in range. He did just turn the nuts. Glad we didn't get hyperextended there. People triple barreling in these games. They're just nutted so often. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. You don't see too many triple barrel bluffs in these games, particularly from these green tag players, if they're using reasonable sizes. Occasionally you see them triple barrel bluffing fucking really tiny and just doing stupid things with like small bets that have no hope of working. But usually when these guys are repping a value hand with the sizes and their actions, you tend to just have it. Kind of wish I could have folded that river, but 2 pairs, just too damn hard to fold. I mean, it was a trivial fold with 1 pair. It's just damn hard to fold the 2 pairs. Do it, thinker man. Do it. Oh, that's fair enough, don't then. I think we're beat here with the aces as well, but we obviously have to call because of the pot odds. But check, call, lead. Usually means strength. Yep, it was. I'm just going to get it all in here against Afa Mahid or whatever. He's been aggressive enough where I'm just not prepared to fold over pairs to him on that board texture. Without being too cocky, I think I've made 2 relatively bad calls here with hands that most guys would say were just fucking standard calls. I think I made 2 bad. I just know the lines these guys take inside out. I knew the ace jack wasn't good, and I knew the aces weren't good. I think I made 2 pretty bad calls, and that's certainly something I want to improve on going forward. It's a bad hangover from the, if I fold here, I'm folding everything sort of fucking talk that you hear people talk about a lot when they're playing in tougher games and they're playing against people who are like better balanced, they're going to have more bluffs in the range. These guys just don't have, in spots where it's hard for them to have many bluffs, they just don't have many bluffs, and the aces, it's probably a call because of the odds that we're getting. He might just be fucking blocking with a top pair or something. But I think one of the biggest leaks I've had since coming back to Sky that's certainly hurt my profits is I've definitely been a bit too stationary with my bluff catchers. I think the aces is much less bad than the ace-jack. I think the ace-jack could easily have been a fold for like, whatever it was, 40 blinds, was it? I think the jacks was probably okay. I think the ace was probably okay. The ace-jack was a disappointing one. No need to bet the jacks here. Call the turn for sure. He didn't bet. He's going to bet this turn and probably just not bet the river if he calls. So they're going to fold if we get dunked into. Are we? Are we certainly going to fold though? I think this is one of the ones where we could actually call. He shouldn't have that many queens in his range. And he's got lots of missed draws. Yeah. Happy with that one. Felt like a fold at first, but then it's like, when you look at the board text, it isn't a fold. Because surely he leads a queen on the turn when we check back. Or not surely, but very often. It's those calls where you call and you're right that encourage you to make other, in my opinion, are sloppy calls. And I've certainly made my fair share of sloppy calls since like returning to play on Sky most of the time. And you lose a little bit of confidence with them. You're always calling, always losing, but you're thinking if I'm always folding, then etc. etc. So yeah, it's an area that I need to improve on. Just like making the tight folds when I think there's not much chance that I'm going to win. Surprised if Af went with the squeeze here. Certainly on the, in my opinion, excessively aggressive side. But he seems to find good spots, so what can I say? He seems to find the spots to do it. Three bet by Jose. We like that when we have two aces. We're going to 4-bet to around £5, I think. Oh, slightly deeper. Maybe go to £5.80 or £5.60. Seems good to me. Calls, we get a fantastic flop, and now we're going to try and get it in two streets with a £5 bet and then an all-in on the turn. Oh, we're just going to take it down with the c-bet, which is the much less pleasurable way to win. And defend Harry's min raise. Hope Thin Command doesn't go nuts. I'm going to make a very small, very exploitable 3-bet versus Harry just to try and force the blinds out and get Harry heads up. And we flop pretty good. No need to go crazy though. It looks nice, but if all the money went in, I wouldn't expect us to be a huge favourite. Looks like all the money might end up going in. Certainly not going to give him the opportunity to check raise me again. We're going to take our free card. All of a sudden our hand is much less exciting than it was on the flop. We're just going to take our showdown here and see what Harry was playing at. Pocket tens. Okie dokie, Harry. So Harry in raise 10-10, Queen X6, mono in the bet pot. We go to then shut down. And that's a nice note to have, because if he check raises and doesn't shut down in the future, then we can make some assumptions based on that. That's a full house, and there's 2 people in the pot, so we're going to make an exploitably larger c-bet against players who we're happy to take exploitable lines against. Against a regular, I would probably bet smaller here, because my overall strategy is to bet small on most flops with a lot of my range, but in position against 2 fish, when I've got a set, that goes out the window and we just move into exploitable mode. Disappointing to get called by the player we didn't want to get called by, and then force out the player who we're happy to play with the rest of his chips with. Bye, Ace-Jack. Bye-bye. Apologies for the slight pauses you're hearing now and again. I do have a bit of a tickly cough at the moment, and you guys don't need to be hearing it, so I'm kind of pausing when I need to clear my throat. Table 2 can absolutely go. Let's try and flop something massive on table 4. We failed. Table 2 is about to go in the bin. Oh no, Sneaky Bull's reloaded, so it's fine again now. To be fair, we'll just stick with it now because we've only got 5 minutes to the end of the video, so no point trying to put another table in, because I'm going to end my session at this point. And it does feel bad to move away from these tables, but you need to have a break now and again. I've been playing quite a long time already this afternoon. 3-bet with ace jack by JD. We're going to make a very small 4-bet. 4 to a jam. He calls. I think ace jack can be the best hand here a decent amount. He can have a king, queen, and things like that. So no real reason to bet. I think we can certainly call the turn. Again, no reason to bet really. I mean, yeah, if a king and a queen rolls off, I'll be a bit cheesed off, but it's all good. Almost certainly going to call this river if he decides to bet. I don't think he's going to be. I think we're going to lose to ace king and ace queen a lot here, right now. That's what's going to happen, in my opinion. Deuces. Okie dokie then. So we've got someone who 3-bet small pairs, big blind versus button. I think there's some quite obvious ways we can use that nut going forward. We check min raise here versus rate if he bets again. It's a bit too big for the min raise to really be. Do we just call here and check the river? How do we go all in? Call and check seems best to me. Sadly, Ray checks back. And we're probably going to go all the way to showdown here against Ahmed, who's been an absolute table captain. We have top pair, good kicker, and now we have a flush draw. Right, he's bet really. I think the trick here against this player is to try and bet like super small, get him to make some like really bad calls with like ace X, and maybe induce some spew. If the plan was to induce spew, then not 3-betting when he check raises. I mean, there's a chance we're going to be beat here, but I mean, we're just going to call down and yeah, our check raise absolutely induce some spew, and seems like a good time to end the session. I mean, I've kind of been setting him up for that all day. He's definitely had the best of me until that spot, and then all of a sudden we got the best of him, and we probably won plenty back and more than he'd taken from us. And if we were continuing the session, I'd expect that to be continued to be the case. Unfortunate river makes it harder for us to get paid. But we did anyway. It's been a pleasant end to the video. Rounding off, Reggie Time Poker's 2017 video creation. Hopefully, mind you, we've got these queens to go. I was about to say we're rounding off with on a high, but we might round off on a low if these queens go sour. Right, we're not going to lose too much now. If we do lose, we're not going to win very much if we do win. How's that for a board? Same hand. So yeah, I think we'll call it a day there. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope you've had a good year. Hope you've enjoyed my content this year. Not sure exactly what my content's going to look like next year, because as we talked about earlier, there's going to be a lot of changes in my approach to poker, which will absolutely have an influence on my approach to my YouTube channel. But hopefully we'll figure something out. Hopefully you guys will have some good suggestions, and we can continue having fun with the channel, and I can continue having fun with my poker. All that's left to do is for me to wish you guys a really happy and healthy new year, and have a good time. Don't get too drunk, and if you do get too drunk, don't get in trouble. Bye for now.